can't be the only one that thinks that sounds like a Dalek gouching on some amphetamines. Hey! Hi ho Silva! Well, hello and welcome to this Tuesday's Movie News. I am Jonathan C. Walsh here to discuss all of the latest happenings in the world of cinema, in the world of Hollywood. A bespectacled Jonathan doing his very best to look cultured and obviously going to be doing his very best as a natural extension of that to not swear once in this entire show. I am absolutely certain that I can do it. I said I was going to be speaking about Ezra Miller and his wackiness. One reason I didn't touch it with a 10-foot barge pole was because I don't want to swear, and it's almost impossible not to swear when discussing Ezra these days. The man has lost his mind. But look, I am here to speak about Lightyear 2022. We'll forever have that connected to it because of course Buzz Lightyear forever synonymous with the 90s, with my childhood, with Toy Story, with Andy, with Woody, with the whole gang, Slinky Dog. But this is not the Buzz that we knew and loved in the 1990s, and of course a new generation in the 2000s also loved. This is very much a real man set in a Pixar animated world. This is the man who inspired the toys, the toy, singular, that we've seen in those movies. And of course, I was extremely excited about this movie. I'm a huge fan of Chris Evans. Perhaps you've noticed I have a shield behind me, which he passed over to Sam Wilson, of course. Not the shield that he used in the actual MCU for much of his tenure as Captain America. But a huge fan of the actor, huge fan of the man, and hugely inspirational guy, a good liberal when it comes to politics, very well spoken, and a great actor. So I was excited when I heard he was being brought in to do the voice acting work. I think it's Tim Allen was the man who did Buzz in the Pixar Toy Story movies. There was a lot of tutting and moaning when Chris was announced as the voice of Buzz. There were calls of why on social media. Why not bring Tim back in? And of course the simple answer was everything I just mentioned there. It's the real man, not the actual toy, so there should be a disconnect. But look man, very excited about the movie. The excitement levels only built further when I heard the initial reactions coming out of CinemaCon in Las Vegas, the city of sin. people had seen the first 30 minutes of this movie. They says it was absolutely stellar. They were gripped by it. They didn't want to take their eyes from it. People were weeping watching this movie. That excited me tremendously. Furthermore, for me, Pixar have never quite been able to capture the magic that they had before the Disney merger. They were a different beast back in the day. That's not to say they've not made some great movies since then. Of course, most recently they've been hitting the ball out the park with the likes of Coco and Moana. But for me, not quite reaching the levels of the former selves. So this was perhaps an opportunity for the animation studio to give us something really special, going all the way back, for me anyway, to where it started with Pixar, with Toy Story, utilising this very inspirational, bigger than life, charismatic sort of toy figure, and then giving him an actual living, breathing character to tell the story with that version, a different version. It was an opportunity for the studio to reclaim some of the greatness I think they had lost. I'm not saying that they're not great. They clearly are. Pixar, a very good studio, one of the very iconic and best animation, I should say, studios on the planet. But this was an opportunity, man. In a unique set of circumstances to go back and just, give us something different. Very Inception. Take the toy and shows the man who inspired the toy. But of course, the early reviews are out now. They've had some things to say, and we're going to really delve into the contradiction of modern cinematic criticism in general, and how they can flip-flop, and how they can have one set of opinions about one particular project, be it TV or movies, and then a completely different and strange opinion on another. And I'll get into that in the second topic, how it just blows my mind how Rotten Tomatoes, an aggregative sort of critic website, can give one score for something and another for something else. I suppose that is the whole point of the website, but I digress. We'll get into it. It's going to be a sort of criticism of the critiques. But this is what they've had to say. It's split in opinion. It surprised me. When I knew the movie was set to drop the embargo, I thought it was going to be overwhelmingly positive for this movie. As I said, people weeping at CinemaCon, widespread acclaim, the initial reaction's very positive. But as you can see here, we'll get into some of the reviews, and look, Lord knows they may have a bias slant here. At Screen Rant, we may see some rose-tinted glasses being used with the reviews I've picked out, but certainly from some of the articles I've read, some really naysaying voices out there. But look, Ben Kendrick of Screen Rant had this to say: Lightyear is a clever expansion of Pixar's beloved Toy Story franchise, packed with fun moments, warm sentiment, and downright gorgeous animation. That's the bare bones of what we expect from Pixar. Gorgeous animation, warm sentiment, uplifting stories. I expect this movie to tick all of the demographic boxes. It will inspire the kids. It will also have the adults cerebrally, I can never say that word, thinking as well. That's something I've always loved about Pixar movies. They can just there's something for everyone. The 90-year-olds, the 9-year-olds. It has that ability to transcend demographics. So that's the very basic we're requiring here, gorgeous animation. But he seemed to like it, Ben. So that's good. And now we go into the absolute crackpottery that is the modern day movie critics' names. Owen Gleiberman. What a name. I had this to say. It's not the worst, I tell you. We'll get into some down here, I'm absolutely certain, which are clearly made up. They are showbiz names. They are failed showbiz stars who changed their name, hoping to make it big in the industry, and had to settle for critiquing. We had this to say: when taken on its own eager-to-please terms, the movie is a winning diversion. But given that it's a spin-off of the Toy Story series, it should be noted that this is one of those Pixar movies that feels like it has 50% Disney DNA. Well, this is what I said, man. This is what I said. When Disney merged with Pixar, they seem to lose something. And that's to be expected. You've got this huge corporation, an indie studio. We've seen it with video games. We've seen it, Lord knows, with Fox merging with Disney. That sort of roguish outlaw maverick studio, Searchlight, would do things that Disney would balk at. We've seen it here again. It's perhaps you're seeing that insidious inspiration of Disney rubbing off, and sometimes it can be positive, but I think with Pixar it's been in the main negative. 50% Disney DNA isn't a good thing for a Pixar movie. Leave it to Pixar. They know what they're doing. But again, man, look, they're comparing it to Toy Story. I've got it in the title. Doesn't quite reach Toy Story's greatness, something to that effect. This movie shouldn't be getting compared to Toy Story. Yes, we have one of the titular characters from Toy Story as the main man in this, Buzz Lightyear. That doesn't mean you compare and contrast every sequence, every scene, every minutiae with Toy Story. That's not the way it works. It's a different story. It's a spin-off. Give it a chance on its own two legs. Toy Story has not even got to the levels of Toy Story in recent years. There's been some good ones. I think Toy Story 3 was very good, but the last one didn't even get to Toy Story's level. So let's not compare the spin-offs to Toy Story when Toy Story itself can't even do it these days. David Rooney, Hollywood Reporter, had this to say about the movie. This is a funny spin-off with suspense and heart. A captivatingly spirited tune take on splashy live action retro popcorn entertainment. That's a tongue twister, man. Splashy live action retro popcorn entertainment. I'm happy to say I passed it with Flying Colours twice, but I couldn't pass a basic phrase with Flying Colours. Again, man, I says rose tinted glasses. They may pick out some of the positive ones. I have certainly read some negative reviews about this movie. One publication gave it 1 out of 5, which seems incredibly harsh to me. It's clearly not a 1 out of 5 movie. It's very worse. This is going to be average. I think at its very best, and it's of course all subjective, could be excellent. It'll scratch an itch for some person. Other people will hate it. That's what all cinema's like. Even the great movies divide opinion. Although most people are wrong about great movies who don't like them, because they just invariably want to be different. But I digress, man. We'll move on to the next couple of ones. I told you we'd get into some crazy names, and Lord knows, I don't know the origin of this. This could be Vietnamese or something. Hoi Tran Boy, but we're not doing that, boy. We're doing Matt Singer first. A beige name, a western name, a shite name, Screen Crush, a shite publication. It sounds like you create a business and you name it Screen Crush. Albeit, I mean, look, you could say the same for us. Hello, Kumar. Welcome in. He had this to say, Singer. Even if it never matches the magic of Toy Story, it does provide a satisfying 100 minutes at the movies. 100 minutes is top. That's a short experience. That's roughly about an hour 40. That's a short experience in a theatre. I think that's the perfect length for an animated movie. It's not overstaying its welcome. Yes, the character's captivating for me. It's charismatic. It's bombastic. Its trials and its tribulations, its heroics have inspired a great toy that we see in Toy Story, that franchise. Yes, you've got the great presence of Chris Evans and his dulcet Bostonian tones, but I think an hour and 40 minutes is perfect in terms of length. It's like horror. All good horrors have to be under 2 hours for me, I'm sorry. And that's why Andy Muschietti was ultimately wrong about It Chapter 2, because that movie was far too long. But look, Hoi Tran Boy, I'm almost certain I said that wrong, /film. Not a shit publication, a very good publication. Write some essay length opinion pieces, and they're almost invariably good. Had this to say: Lightyear may not reach the heights of the great sci-fi movies that it pays tribute to. What sci-fi movie in the 21st century does, though, apart from Nolan's work? There's not many. Reach a Kubrick. It just doesn't happen. It's a stupid analogy, comparison, whatever. But it's a visually impressive escapist wreath on the sci-fi epic that, at the very least, might become the favourite movie of some kid somewhere, or some adult kid somewhere, because Lord knows we all still have that kid in us. So most of these reviews are absolutely fine. They seem to be pretty happy with the movie. They're pretty consistent in that it's not Toy Story, which is something I was aware of anyway. Perhaps they mean the quality. I know they mean the quality of the movie isn't Toy Story level, but again, that's one of the very great Pixar movies. Pixar's an esteemed animated studio. I've said this about 5 times already on this show. and they even struggle to get to Toy Story levels of output at times. I can maybe count a handful of non-Toy Story movies that are on that level. Up, Coco, Moana. Moana is Pixar, I'm pretty sure it is. The latest one they were all going off their head about, Encanto. I mean, that's probably 4, maybe 5, and they've released about 15 movies now. So, I mean, you're setting a very high bar there for the movie to clear. It's harsh. But David Fear, Rolling Stone, that's a music publication talking about cinema. Okay. David had this to say: it is, in essence, a light, breezy, better than average Disney movie that just happens to feature a most valuable Pixar player while barely feeling like a Pixar movie. Oh, this is my concern, man. This is always a concern, as I did say at the start. Pixar never quite got back to that level of greatness they had before they merged with Disney. And Disney always seems to have a ridiculous amount of influence on these umbrella companies, the companies that fall under the greater Disney brand. They always seem to have that insidious influence on the creative decisions. You see it sadly sometimes with Lucasfilm, and you've seen it with Pixar over the years, and that's always my concern. The one thing I take away from this that maybe eases my concern is, like I says, people who I respect loved this movie, the half an hour they seen of it at CinemaCon. They wept watching this movie. So that makes me think some of these critics don't know what they're talking about. Amelia Emberwing. Wow, what a name. Emberwing. How do you even get that name? I'd love to know. How does one get that name? How do you, through your lineage, end up becoming an Emberwing? It just seems like someone get bored with Watson or something one day and decided, I'm going to go to the register, whatever it is you do. I was about to swear there, but I made a pact with myself before this show started that I will not utter a single swear word in this entire show. So I checked myself, convinced to go to a register and just change her name. They get bored. Emberwing, that can't be real. It can't be. Let's see if her opinion, her review strikes a chord with me and I like what she's saying. Lightyear features striking visuals, strong performances, and a love out loud lesbian relationship that we are thrilled to see on screen. All of those things deserved a stronger story though. I'm just slightly confused, if you bear with me, why Restream have logged me out of the chat. Not that it matters half the time, because half the time no one is actually in the chat, but nonetheless, disconcerting when you're in the middle of a stream and it decides, I'm going to log you out, bitch. You're getting logged out. YouTube have been dodgy today as well, so it concerns me slightly. It's not logging back in. Something went wrong. Server network timeout. We may be screwed here. I don't know if I'm even still live. If I am, I'll just crack on with it. If I ain't, I'm not live. It doesn't even matter. I'll just talk to myself. Very good at it anyway. But yeah, man, I'm intrigued to see where the love out loud lesbian relationship comes into it. I thought it was a movie about Lightyear. Buzz, he's very much not a female. I don't think he's a sort of bi character. I'm not sure how that works, but okay, it's in there. And Amelia has decided to point it out, so I'll be intrigued to see how that finds its way into the story, how they can make that work. That'll be certainly something surprising for me to feast my eyes upon. But look, we'll see how it works. It may work. I'm not going to linger on this too long, man. I'll read 2 more. I'll probably do IndieWire and then Collider, because I have got other things to talk about. Time's going on. And to be honest with you, I want to get into the criticisms of the critiques, because the critiques at times rub me up the wrong way. That's me back with the chat. Lovely. Restream, just a useless pile of, you know what? I should never have left. I'm blanking on the name of it now. Streamlabs. I went back to OBS. It was a bad decision. But a guy got a rest. David Ehrlich. Sounds German. Perhaps Austrian. That's a strong name. He had this to say: bursting onto the big screen with huge, this project was announced during a shareholders meetings energy. Don't know if that's got to do with anything. I stopped myself swearing again there. Lightyear is exactly the kind of gratuitous property mining that corporate streamers were invented to support. See, I don't agree with that, man. A lot of criticism of Disney and Star Wars, their collaborative works. But for me, one of the best things to this day that Disney has produced under the Star Wars banner is Rogue One. And that is everything that he's just described there. It is gratuitous property mining that corporate streamers were invented to support. It was literally, I think, a corporate figure picked out a paragraph in the opening crawl of A New Hope and decided to create a spin-off movie from it. And for me, it's the best work they've done with Star Wars to this day. What we're saying 7 years on. So that does not necessarily a negative thing, that taking inspiration in one character and decide to spin off and do something different with the character. I'm just looking forward to seeing this movie, man. I hope it's good. It's all subjective at the end of the day, and I'll get into it. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Rotten Tomatoes score, how it compares to the other Star Wars shows. After this review from Collider's Ross Bonami. I don't know how to say that name, man. I simply do not have the motion in my tongue to pronounce it. But this is what he had to say, Ross. Lightyear is still an extremely fun action sci-fi film that is better than most animated films released in a given year. Well, that's good. It's kind of damned with faint praise, but okay. And will bring a smile to fans of this character, but it's also the first time a Toy Story film has truly felt inessential. Well, I just flat out disagree with that one as well. I felt Toy Story 4 was completely inessential. That wasn't even a word I knew existed until 2 seconds ago. I didn't think Toy Story 4 was required. I thought that was an unnecessary movie. Toy Story 3 was a genuinely great film. It brought a lump to my throat. I was actually crying when the toys were also sliding down into the furnace and they were holding hands. Great, well-formed villain in that teddy bear character. I forget his name. It's not seen it in a long time, but that was a movie that was great. That had everything it possessed, everything Toy Story 4 lacked. It just felt empty to me. It was an empty vessel of a movie, so it's not the only Toy Story related product or movie that's felt inessential. I'd completely disagree there, but again, it's all subjective. What I say isn't gospel, and what Ross Bonamy from Collider says equally isn't gospel. You know what else ain't gospel though, and I'll get into it in a moment. Before I just finish with this, you always take what these critics say with an enormous pinch of salt. An enormous pinch, that's an oxymoron, but I went there anyway. Ultimately, the only opinion that matters when it comes to art is your opinion. It's all subjective. It could be the worst goddamn movie on the planet. Everyone, 99.99999% of the people who have seen it agree. But if you love it, your opinion is all that matters. So I will go into this theatre. I will watch this movie. It will be the first Pixar movie I have watched in a theatre since Coco or Moana. It's because I'm not even sure now Moana is a Pixar movie. I've got a feeling that's Disney. One of them anyway. And I think Moana, I know for a fact I've seen the two of them in a theatre, but I don't know if Moana's a Pixar movie. It'll be the first one since them anyway. Whatever one is a Pixar movie. If both are a Pixar movie, then it's the first one since then that I will go and watch in a theatre. And I'm looking forward to it, man. I hope it's an enjoyable experience. I hope Chris Evans gives us a great performance. And I'm looking forward to that lesbian scene as well. I'm not going to lie, that's intriguing. Lesbian, love out loud lesbian relationship in an animated movie. Wowzer. Looking forward to see how they make that work. But look, man, incidentally, it's got an 82% rating. Rated fresh on Rotten Tomatoes through 90 reviews. So it's doing not too bad. It's not outstanding, but it's not god-awful either. It's not Mobius. That's what I'm saying. Hopefully they don't have to release this in a theatre many times like they did with Mobius. One thing it hasn't got a low 80s Rotten Tomato score though is Obi-Wan Kenobi. And this is the contradiction I was speaking about when it comes to movie critiques or just entertainment critiques in general. They hold certain things to a really high standard, Toy Story level, when it comes to Lightyear, one of the greatest animated movies ever made. They set that bar for Lightyear, but they set a completely different bar for Obi-Wan Kenobi that's not even remotely linked to what every Star Wars fan on the planet probably wants from Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is going to be a general discussion about Kenobi, incidentally. My thoughts leading into this episode tomorrow. And where I feel the show has done well and done badly. But how does it compare to other Star Wars shows? Well, you'll be unsurprised to hear with the critiques on Rotten Tomatoes, it fares pretty well. As you can see here, the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian were loved by critics and audiences alike as it introduced viewers to new characters and new corners of the galaxy, eventually bringing in more familiar faces from across Star Wars. Subsequently, the Book of Boba Fett seemed like it should be a sure thing given the character's popularity, but it didn't pan out that way, and things went south with critics and even more with audiences due to disagreement on some storytelling decisions and a lack of focus on Boba Fett himself. I personally quite liked Book of Boba Fett in the main. There was some head scratching moments, but that was the moments that didn't have Boba Fett in the actual TV show. I know it was a book, it was chapters, but why did we go off and show Luke Skywalker for an entire episode? I love Luke, but if you want to show him, do a TV show with Luke Skywalker. Don't call it Book of Boba Fett and they give us Luke Skywalker in an episode, or The Mandalorian sort of sneak preview of what's to come in season 3 and a Boba Fett TV show. I think I was one of the few people on the planet that actually quite liked Boba Fett, and I obviously love The Mandalorian. But as you can see here, Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's been average, let's be honest. This TV show has been bang average, man. It started off pretty well. We've seen this weathered, broken man in Ben. He was going as Ben, of course he goes as Ben later on as well, because anyone that's seen A New Hope will know that. That's not a spoiler, it shouldn't be. If you've not seen A New Hope at this point, and you're not like 5, then there's no hope for you. He's broken down, beaten man, a shell of what he was. General Kenobi, hero of the Clone Wars, great Jedi. If they'd continued in that vibe, he's sort of just tormented by what he'd done to Anakin, and then they somehow build to this crescendo, a battle at the end of the TV show. I'd have been happy with that, man. I says it time and again, I wanted psychological trauma with this character. I wanted him getting battered from pillar to post. We did want to see Leia at some point, because look, we're seeing Luke, it's only fair we get to see Leia, but never did I expect we get so much of a 10-year-old Leia in an Obi-Wan Kenobi show, or a third sister from the Inquisitors in an Obi-Wan Kenobi show, or the death, it seems, of the Grand Inquisitor who appears in Rebels after this in an Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show. And to be honest with you, the more it's went on, episode 3 for me is the absolute standout. The first one I really did enjoy. I liked the nature of where he was, but it's been average in the main. That aside, it's been a very, very average show. Really, the score can sum it up in a microcosm for me. The score has been all over the place, but in the main, it's had its moments, but in the main, it's been very average. That's just like a microcosmic look at this TV show. You just listen to the score. Go onto Spotify or Apple Music and listen to the score, and that'll kind of sum it up. It has its moments, but in the main, very, very beige. But not in the critiques on Rotten Tomatoes eyes. They have rated it 88%. Of course, they have scored it higher than the Book of Boba Fett, which gets 66%. And it's nowhere near Mandalorian, 93-94% on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, you can say that that's a very fair estimation of where these shows lie, but I think it's been very generous, giving this an 88 and giving the Book of Boba Fett a 66. There is no way in God's green earth, or just green earth if you're an atheist, that 22% of a difference exists between Kenobi and Boba Fett. It just doesn't happen. It's pie in the sky bullshit. That's not a swear word. That's just BS. That's like Fox TV standard of cussing. It's pathetic. 22% difference, absolutely no chance, man. For me, so far, we're now 2 episodes away from the finale of Obi-Wan Kenobi. I actually think, to this point, Book of Boba Fett has the more exhilarating highs. It has the more standout moments. And I'm not even talking about Luke Skywalker and the Mandalorian here. I'm talking about him liaising with the Sand People tribe. The moments with the speeder, the sort of swoop gang speeders in the train, they were epic moments, man. They were standout moments in that TV show. You can say, look, the Darth Vader scene in episode 3, the sequence, that just shits over the entire Boba Fett's TV show, and that'd be absolute fair comment. But that aside, I think it actually has more epic moments than Obi-Wan. So I think, for me, I read it, I laughed, because it's like, man, the critics, this is just an example for me why critics can't really be taken as gospel. You will have people going on Rotten Tomatoes, the likes of Metacritic for video games, and using that and forming their entire opinion on something based on that. And this is why you can't do it. You have to go in with your own set of eyeballs, watch something, experience it, and form your own opinion. You can use that as a sort of general view of what it's going to be like, and then you go in and you can take it apart. But you never take this shit as gospel. You don't take the Lightyear stuff as gospel. That it's mixed responses, it's not as good as Toy Story, it's not this, it's not that, it's got this, it's got that. And likewise with this, man. The good, the yin, the yang. Screw these bitches. Form your own opinions. For me, Obi-Wan can be saved in the final 2 episodes, but time will tell if they do save it. But look, man, staying on the Star Wars Obi-Wan vibe, Hayden Christensen has been out speaking. I feel for this, man. I really do. I'm going to zoom this up for my geriatric eyes, because for some reason it seems small, even with glasses on. And I mean, I can take glasses off, to be fair, and there is absolutely no difference. I don't know why I am wearing the glasses. Literally no difference. I need glasses for like 500 feet down the road, not 6 feet in front of me. But yeah, I feel for this, man. The build up of this TV show, they whipped him out at Star Wars Celebration. He had some great interactions with Ewan McGregor. And look, I say I feel for him. It could be vindicated in the last 2 episodes. We could see some great moments with Vader. We could see some back and forth with him and obviously Obi-Wan being Kenobi. Again, I expect a final fight sequence with Obi-Wan prevailing. Otherwise, we've got a real issue with retconning that interaction. And A New Hope, when I left you I was but the learner, now I am the master. It would make no sense if Obi-Wan doesn't school him, and school him badly, by the end of this TV show, because he literally levitated him using the Force, burnt him like a bitch, slapped him about like he was a youngling on Coruscant, getting used as sort of target practice with the clone troopers. That was how bad the beatdown was, man. So they have to sort that out. I think we will see more. But to this point, I feel sorry for Hayden, because he's come in and he's had very little to work with. I mean, what has he done, man? When you actually break it down, with actual Hayden invisible, he's been in the back to a tank, he's flickered his eyes, he's shown off a dismembered limb, and he's had a haunting Stir of Echoes moment on the desert, looking round at Obi-Wan, and that's probably one of the best moments in the whole TV show today. That freaked me, when he kind of bends back and looks at Obi-Wan. But he's been let down, Hayden. But this is what I had to say about it, man. Had this to say about performing on the day as Vader. I'm really enjoying the show. I really love the scripts when I read them, and I think they're coming to life in a really exciting way that presents these characters in a new light. Well, not Darth Vader, they're not. Epic moment when he's fighting in the dark in the desert with Obi-Wan, but really? A new light? Chilling in the back to tank, listening to some Star Wars equivalent of Metallica? Or maybe he's listening to Simon and Garfunkel. Woe betide, his hand's gone, his legs are gone. I'm burnt, I'm like Freddy Krueger. On steroids. It's not really any new light being shone upon Anakin within Darth Vader, but we'll give it time, there's still time. And I'll get to that in a moment, I'm sure. I think there's still a couple of more episodes to go. Yes, there is, Hayden. So I won't say too much, but I've been really enjoying it. Well, that's maybe a sign that there is some hope there. That he won't say too much. Maybe he is heavily hinting here that we are going to get some special moment with Anakin within. Because he mentioned that Vader is almost always trying to kill Anakin within. Anakin still lives within the character. We all know that if we've watched Star Wars. But Vader, the evil, is always trying to vanquish, extinguish the good. That little chink of good that's still there that Luke teases out bit by bit. Maybe we will get that in the last 2 episodes. And you know what? If we do, I'll come back and I'll say, I am talking utter nonsense. I will eat a big slice of humble pie. Lord knows I like to eat pie in its various forms. I'll admit if I'm wrong. But right now, this TV show is beige. Sadly, there's been some great moments, 1 or 2, but it's beige. And it ain't an 88% as of now. But if these critics have seen the entire TV show, I do stress that I will completely contradict everything I've said, and I'll say you were right. So just know that to be the case. Staying with Star Wars briefly, I'm going to touch on this because we did speak about this last night. Before I move on to the finale, realistically, I'll briefly touch about Paddington touch on Paddington. That was going to be the final topic in this show. You know what, screw it, I'll do it at the end. I'll talk about Paddington, it'll be brief. But obviously, speaking about this last night, headlined the show about Taika Waititi. Star Wars, potentially delayed release date of 2023. Not even done the script yet. Not even sat down with Kirsten Wilson Cairns, his co-writer. He's been out speaking again about Star Wars and what he expects to create when he finally does sit down with his co-writer and do this movie. And this is what he had to say. Taika Waititi, I'm talking about, of course. I think these goonballs, let's find out what they says. No, they actually say Taika. There was another. It may actually be the Thor Love and Thunder thing. Thor Love and Thunder director. It's Taika Waititi. He's an Oscar-winning director. An Oscar-winning writer. What are you doing talking about here, man? Give the man his name. What? He's some unknown bitch. Thor Love and Thunder director. What? It's harder to write that. Mental to me. But this is what he had to say. Look, I think for the Star Wars universe to expand, it has to expand. I don't think that I am any use in the Star Wars universe making a film where everyone's like, oh great, well that's the blueprints to the Millennium Falcon. Ah, that's Chewbacca's grandmother. Here's your daddy. That's like the holiday special. That all stands alone. That's great. Though I would like to take something new and create something new, some new characters, and just expand the world. Otherwise, it feels like it's a very small story. Now, we touched upon this last night, me and Stephen, and we both agreed that they really do. Well, I mean, I certainly says it. I'm pretty sure Stephen agrees as well. They have to do something different with this universe. They have to go to another part of the galaxy. They have to create new characters. It has to be fresh. I don't care if they go back 500 years, they go forward 15,000 years. They need to do something different. They need to get away from the Skywalker saga. It's done. It's beaten to death. Like a goddamn, I don't know, man. Matador slapped around Sevilla with a bull, beaten into a bloody pulp. Forget about it. Move on from it. Perfectly fine to explore that region between the originals and the sequels. That's uncharted waters. But we've seen it, man. Let's move on. And I says at the time when Taika comes in to do his movie, I can't think of a better man to take us off in another direction, in another part of the galaxy, in another era than this man. He will give us something unique, quirky, visually arresting. And it'll have everything, man. It'll have emotion, it'll have humour. That's what the guy brings you. So I'm excited to see him speaking those words. He wants to do something different. He wants to create new characters. He wants to go off in a different direction with this IP because it needs it, man. It's in bad need of some fresh ideas, and that's why you bring Taika in. Speaking of fresh ideas, speaking of fresh ideas, wow. I was watching another streamer today, and they touched upon this, and I thought it was a joke. It says Joker 2 set to be a musical, and I genuinely thought they were joking, because it doesn't make any sense to me, man. But we'll get into it. Joker 2 to be a musical featuring Lady Gaga. I put a question mark there. Well, I mean, the Lady Gaga thing is pretty much a true thing. It's a true story, because you've got the likes of Empire reporting it via the Hollywood Reporter, and you cannot get a more cast iron exclusive scoop than the Hollywood Reporter or Deadline or Variety. Those are the sort of gold standards. Maybe even a Jeff Snyder at Collider. These are the people who have their finger on the pulse in Hollywood, and if they say it's happening, you best believe it's been happening at one point and collapsed for some unknown reason, or it is going to happen. And they are saying that Lady Gaga is in talks to portray Harley Quinn in a sequel to Joker, and that Todd Phillips is on board. Now, I've got another article opened, and I sadly can't make head nor tail of it, but it looks to me like Todd Phillips is presenting a script to Joaquin. Now, I don't know if this is recent, it's a flashback, it's a sort of a flashback, what am I talking about, a sort of memory, and an anniversary. I can't even think of the right word. He's posting something up from Joker from 2018 or whatever, whenever that movie came out. I don't know if it's that, or whether he's got an actual script, pen to paper, and he's handed it to Joaquin. But yeah, man, as you can see here, might be entertaining an offer to co-star opposite Joaquin Phoenix, yet both are apparently true, according to the Hollywood Reporter. Ditto the idea that Lady Gaga, I should say, might be entertaining. Let's look at the Gaga side of things first. She's not committed, but the reporter sources are accurate. If the reporter sources are accurate, and they almost certainly are, Harley Quinn, obviously given that Joker isn't connected to the wider DC universe, it will be different to Margot Robbie. Its potential is fascinating, they're saying here. They've got Scott Silver in there, they're both back to do the sequel. He's penned the script, he posted the script cover, so it is real. Joker, Folie à Deux, I think that's how you say it. I'm not French, sadly. But subtitle, with a subtitle referring to a mental disorder affecting 2 or more people, that would heavily hint that he is sort of mass hysteria. That he has went off the edge into insanity and he's taken Harley with him. That is kind of what those 2 characters are. She's a sane doctor. She's actually a therapist or something, a psychologist. She works on Joker and she ends up losing her mind as well and getting off the beaten track with him, off piste if you'd like, to use a skiing term. But yeah, man, look, is this something that would appeal to me? I don't know where the musical thing's coming from. I don't know if they're putting 2 and 2 together and coming up with 20, because Lady Gaga's in there and also a famous musician, musical act. I don't know if that's where they're getting it from. In terms of the musical thing, could it work? I think the natural assumption when you see musical is that you think it's going to be airy, light, and a bit, a dance a minute. And that couldn't possibly work with Joker. But look, it's not out with the realms of possibilities that we could get a dark, dangerous musical. I mean, Joker had musical elements anyway, him dancing down the staircase. His life almost seemed to stand still whilst the rest of the world moved on. It was almost like a metaphor for this guy. When the music kicked off, albeit strangely Gary Glitter, a well-known nonce. Don't know why that was in there, but it was, and it did work, to be fair. It was almost like a metaphor. When he was dancing down the staircase, it was like him transcending into this different personality. The rest of the world was completely blissfully unaware, and he was in his element for the first time. That's, for me, one of the standout moments. It's the moment people go and recreate in the actual location. That was a musical moment. So it's possible that Todd Phillips has identified some of the standout moments of the first movie. The madness, the performance of Joaquin, the musical nature of that movie really clicked with audiences, maybe critics, maybe the actual studio execs, and now he wants to tap into that more. Maybe it's not a traditional musical, but it's got heavily musical inspired moments, just building on the first movie. It could work. And to be fair to Lady Gaga, she is a very, very good actor. We've seen that in the likes of Star is Born, the most recent one with Gucci, House of Gucci. She is a very good actor. She's been knocking on the door for an Oscar, albeit more by actual songs than performances, but she's she's a solid actor. Does she have the chops to portray Harley Quinn in a Joker movie alongside Joaquin, who will do the heavy lifting? I think she does, to be fair. And when you bring this up, and look, I'm not so keen on the look, because that's very close to Margot's look, and Margot's made that her own. I think they'd have to do something distinctively different with her version, because that's what you get with Joker. You get very different incarnations, different actors putting their own stylistic sort of approach to the character. You need to do that with obviously Margot Robbie and potentially Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn as well. They couldn't be the same, and that to me looks a bit close. The haircut, the face paint, that was never Harley Quinn for me. She was the red, the black, the jester. You don't need to go down that route, but it has to be different. But could she perform this character? I absolutely think she can. I think she's a good enough actor. She's building into that other part of her career. She's always been a sort of show person. She's been a bit wacky at times. She's actually looking better these days now she's got rid of all that nonsense. I'm not going to lie, the bacon dresses and stuff like that. She's looking much better. Could she portray the character? I think she could. I think it could be an inspired choice. This is very much sort of curveball Heath Ledger casting kind of thing that could really, really, really pay off for Phillips. It just comes down to whether she's got the chemistry with Joaquin, and I don't see why not. Incidentally, that's a great Boss Logic once again, hitting the ball out the park with the fan art. And it pains me to say fan art because it's more than fan art. That is art. And it's very purest form. What he's produced there is special. And he's given us a little insight into how she would look. But it was really this, man. I found this so interesting. The choice of the colours, the red, the black. And the shot of where is he? I mean, where is it, man? Why am I losing my mind here trying to find it? I think you just press next here and you will see Joaquin sitting reading this script. That looks like a thick arsed script to me. Had the T on at the end there. And Joaquin, as ever, looking cool as, man. Maybe even smoking a joint there. He's got the glasses and he's sitting getting tore right into the script. This gives me confidence, man, no matter what this direction they decide to go down. Musical, drama. If this guy's on board, if he's read the script and he likes it and he comes back, this man doesn't do sequels that I'm aware of. If he enjoys it, then there's something special there, man. And I don't give a shit whether it's a musical or not. But as you can see here, man, there's people talking about the musical aspect. They were dismissive of it initially. But let him sing about society. That's what it says, man. They utilised the musical numbers in Joker very, very well. And it brought out the madness in the character, so I can see it work. Would I want to see it? Would it be my first choice with this movie? Probably not, but it could work. Do I even want this movie? Time will tell. It's probably unnecessary at the moment. It's a great standalone movie. I really enjoyed it. I'm not one of these revisionist types who like shit on things once they get popular. I still quite like Joker. I think it's great. Is it a rip-off of Scorsese? Of course it is. You're going to rip someone off. Be better doing Scorsese because he is one of the GOATs. But look, man, I'm moving on to this. This is the final topic of the show. My voice is ready to go. So I shall slap on some what's it called again? I always blank on the name of this. It's a German thing. It's Fanta and Coke mixed. It's special, man. It really is. It is special. And it may even be like a special or something, that's what they call it. I can't remember. Doesn't matter. Paddington. The third Paddington film has been titled, and as you can see there, Paddington in Peru. Now, of course, this charismatic little disaster-stricken bear is from Peru. That's his origins. I think it's his aunt, his uncle, or his grandfather, who tragedy strikes. I think there's an accident. The grandfather or the uncle dies. He gets sent to London, but he's from Peru. And I have to tell you, it's a simple little title, but it's also strange to me because I'm pretty sure the first two are just Paddington and then Paddington 2. So, as someone who is almost certainly got OCD to some extent, it rubs me up the wrong way to have Paddington 2, and then you go and call it Paddington in Peru. I mean, it kind of it works, doesn't it? It rhymes. Paddington 2, Paddington in Peru. But strange to me. It's a cool title. And what they're sort of exploring within the title alone, what it's conjuring up in my mind's eye is him going back and maybe going full circle here. Very immature, marmalade eating bear at the start, returns to his homeland and becomes this sort of inspirational figure that saves maybe the day. I think that'd be great. Lord knows they're going to have to save the day with the actual movie though, because they've lost Paul King, and that's a bad start. But look, we'll get into that. It's not necessarily a disaster. I don't know much about Dougal Wilson, who's been brought on board, but certainly Paul King knows about him, and he's been very glowing of the man in this quote somewhere down here in this article. As you can see here, I don't care about his visit with Her Majesty. I'm not a fan of Her Majesty or monarchies in general. I don't see the point of them. I think the leeches are not really relevant in the 21st century. We've got enough shit leaders really stealing a wage and not doing enough for it to be having another leech above that. Maybe with an insidious influence as well. Speaking about insidious influences earlier with Disney. But look, political soapbox aside, and look, she's not political, so it's technically not political, but just monarchy, royalist hating soapbox aside, I'm going to get into this. He did have an appearance with the Queen at her Jubilee. I don't really give a shit about that. I care about the title of the movie and who's on to direct it. And this is what I believe Paul King had to say. Pretty sure it was. It was. He had this to say: "What are you doing at my website? Why are you moving? Don't do that again, please. I'm trying to read here, bitch. After 10 years of working on the Paddington movies, I feel absurdly protective of a little bear. And sure you should be, Paul, because you've created something special, my man. Truly special. On course to be the perfect trilogy for me, if they nail this one, but we'll get to that. And I'm delighted that Dougal will be there to hold his paw as he embarks on his third big screen adventure. The Hollywood Reporter is obviously just doing an interview with him. My dog's raping his... I hope it's something it's just his paw down below me, and it's really off-putting. Dougal's work is never less than astounding, funny, beautiful, heartfelt, imaginative, and totally original. Aunt Lucy once asked us to please look after this bear. I know Dougal will do so admirably. So it is the aunt and uncle. It wasn't the grandfather. I was right. I doubted myself. I never should. He went on to say this: as a huge fan of the first two films. Now this is just some other random. It'd be strange if it's Ben Whishaw. I've just called Ben Whishaw. What is my dog doing? I've just called Ben Whishaw a random. The guy voices Paddington. He ain't no random. I will apologise to Ben, who will never see this, so it's irrelevant, but ridiculous. This is what Ben had to say. As a huge fan of the first two films, I am very excited. It's not Ben Whishaw. Who is it? Who said this, man? Who said this? It's Wilson. Who the fuck said this, man? It's Dougal Wilson. It's the new director. Jesus Christ, we got there in the end. It's a new director. Still not a random. He is a random to me, because I don't know any of his work. But he's soon not to be a random for me. Or a rando, as Amber Heard said the other day. As a huge fan of the first two films, I am very excited, if not a little intimidated, to be continuing the story of Paddington. It's a massive responsibility, but all my efforts will be focused on making a third film that honours the love so many people have for this very special bear. Look, man, I don't know much about Dougal Wilson. I looked at his IMDb. It seems to be mostly music videos and short films, so it's a strange choice, I'm not going to lie. But if Paul King's involved in the creative decision making as an executive producer, if he has gave his blessing to Dougal Wilson, then there must be something there. I trust Paul. I think he's a great director. As I said, first two Paddington movies, really special. The first one in particular, fantastic. Really enjoyed it. I think the second one actually had the highest rating on Rotten Tomatoes for a long time, until some rogue critique came in and decided to rain in the parade and leave a less than positive review to bump it down. Damn you. But really special movies. Really enjoyed them. Sort of harkening back to my childhood with some special Disney movies. Was that Pixar even now? I'm not sure. I think it was Disney. The likes of James and the Giant Peach. It leaves that sort of fuzzy feeling. It's multi-demographic. It's got a nice little quaint story, and it's really well acted. Movies like that had the likes of Pete Postlethwaite in them. This one, the likes of Ben Whishaw. I'm blanking on her name, who won an Oscar for The Shape of Water. I don't know why I'm blanking on her name. Really good cast though. Peter Capaldi's in there. That is Peter Capaldi, I think there. Lewis Capaldi, Peter Capaldi. Peter Capaldi's in there. Really good cast. And of course, Hugh Grant playing the villain in the second one to great effect. So, for me, this is on course to be a perfect trilogy. If Dougal can hit the ball out the park, no pressure on your shoulders there, mate. You've got every reason to be intimidated stepping into this movie. You could ruin a perfect trilogy. There's not many perfect trilogies out there, my friend. I think of The Lord of the Rings. I think of Back to the Future. I think of... It's got to be other ones. Not The Godfather, sadly. That's a perfect duology. Some French one, artsy-pantsy one, that the proper film snobs will know. I think the coloured titles. That's a perfect trilogy as well. There is very few perfect trilogies out there, and he has the opportunity in his midst to create a great movie, and with it a great trilogy, a perfect trilogy. The character itself's lovable. Ben Whishaw has done a fantastic job voicing him, and just typified by that great score work that's been done. The first one, I think of this will do nicely. Search that up if you don't know what I'm talking about on YouTube. This will do nicely. Paddington. It's just perfect. Perfect score. All the parts have came together to create just brilliance, man. And we've had a slew of wannabes come out of those Paddington hybrid sort of CGI live action movies. Peter Rabbit. Try to think of other ones and I can't be arsed. Just try to recreate it. I mean, to be fair, Detective Pokemon Pikachu did it and did it well. And then you've got Sonic the Hedgehog actually did it pretty well too, but not Paddington level well. So it's inspired a new era of hybrid live action CG movies. So for me, I hope he succeeds. I like the title of the movie. I like the concept that is alluding to within. And I'm very, very excited to see if they can make it a perfect trilogy. I am going to briefly end on this, man, because I have to. This isn't a topic. But man, I speak about Taika Waititi earlier on. Star Wars. Want to do something different. I says he'll bring his own quirky visual goodness to Star Wars. This is what I'm talking about, man. Now I know he's not actually in charge of doing the posters, but the movies just exude this energy. The title, the sort of logo, everything, man. The trailers exude this energy. It's colourful, it's in your face. It's like the man himself, and you see it in the posters. It manifests in the posters. And we've got a whole array of colourful posters here, and I think the best of all is the IMAX one. I'm not going to lie. And I'm going through them. I'm not going to click on them. I'm just going to be a bit of a maverick and not click on them and get them full screen because I can't be arsed. But there's Valkyrie in there. You've got Korg. Everyone loves a bit of Korg. You've got Zeus, Russell Crowe. And again, you've got Zeus, strangely. Bizarrely, you've got these two. And again, you speak about Taika Waititi. This is what I'm saying with Taika. He could create a character Star Wars movie, a sort of an alien movie. It could be like a puppet, and he could make it happen. He could make it work. This guy's put two rams, I want to say they are goats, on a poster for a 4 movie with lightning and outer sort of extraterrestrial planets in the background, and it works. This is what I'm talking about with Taika. There's nothing this guy can't put his mind to and make it work. We've got a tattoo on presumably Chris Hemsworth's incredible bicep. And this was the one I was talking about, man. Aside from the IMAX, it's just something. I mean, I think Christian's trying to go down the malevolent, sinister route with his God the God Butcher pose there, but he just looks as though he's popped a couple of, I don't know, eckies, as we like to call them, ecstasies, or maybe even get into some magic mushrooms, and he is out his mind, tripping, perhaps heading for a train to Prague. Just pick a random location, and he ends up there. Somehow. That's the journey I'm seeing God the God Butcher go on here. Should be killing gods, but ends up in Prague on a train, slightly piss stained. The next day, he looks out his mind, but he looks as though he's having a great time. You know who doesn't look as though he's having a great time? Jesus 4 down below, sporting everything but the sandals. What is he doing, man? This is 4. We've seen this man fat, a drunk, playing Fortnite in a little hut in Norway, and now we're seeing him like Jesus Christ himself, sitting speaking to a burning bush in a robe. It's very impressive and it does work. But for me, I mean, this one's pretty special, but this is, and I'm going to click on this one, this is a truly, truly special poster. Just look at that poster, man. My dog's trying to kill me here. He's trying to stab me with my mic. Just remember, if you kill me, Harley, there is no one else to walk you. So think twice about that. This is an incredible poster, man. It really is. It's just perfect. The symmetry, you've got Valkyrie, you've got Gore, you've got Jane, the Mighty Thor, you've got Thor himself, Mjolnir, Stormbreaker, the planet, the lightning, the IMAX logo, just the font, everything is perfect. I need to buy it. It needs to be on my wall. It will replace the Batman logo, which I got, the Batman poster I got for free out of Cineworld. Thank you, Cineworld, for that. It's pretty high quality, man. People would pay a bomb for that. They'd probably pay about £15-20 for that. It's not a bomb, but it's pretty expensive for a poster. And you gave it away for free. And for that reason and that reason alone, I will be back to the super screen in Silverburn, even though IMAX is opened. I'll probably go to IMAX for this though. See if I can get that poster for free as well. Because if you can get it for free, why not? But wait man, that's going to round up the show. I'm done speaking. Voice has survived. It's 12:45 AM here. PM. What? I've lost my mind. It's 12:45 AM here. It's 11:44 PM here, to be precise. And whilst I will stay up till 4 in the morning because I am a nutbar, it's still pretty late and I've got to get my dog out for a walk. So, and I want to get my VR headset on and kid on a Max Verstappen. So, let's go around the shop. What's your thoughts on the show that I've touched upon tonight? What do you make about the headline? Which I'm not going to, not going to lie, I nearly forgot. Lightyear. What do you make about Lightyear? The reviews coming in, some criticising the movie, some loving the movie, some saying it, most of them saying it doesn't reach the Toy Story standard. Was that a standard you ever wanted this movie to reach? Why are you even comparing it to a movie about toys when it's based on the actual living character? It's a different universe. Well, it ain't, it's the same universe, but it's a spin-off. Why compare apples with pears? Doesn't make sense to me. What's your thoughts on it? You can comment down below and share your thoughts in the comments section. What's your thoughts on Star Wars Kenobi? How would you rate Kenobi? Do you agree with the critiques that it is 88%, that it is 22% better than the Book of Boba Fett? What's your thoughts on the TV show to this point? Are you looking forward to the final 2 episodes? Can it be redeemed if you think it's a bit beige like me? It has its standout moments, but it's a bit beige. It's probably a 5.56 out of 10 just now for me. Can it get up to an 8? I can't see it getting to a 9. What's your thoughts on it? You can comment down below if you've got anything to say about that as well. Joker 2, a musical. Lady Gaga playing Harley Quinn. Paddington freeze, Paddington in Peru. We've got a new director, Dougal Wilson. Do you know who he is? Because I certainly don't. And those 4 posters. If you've got anything to say at all about anything, down below is the comment section. Just don't write acid man, because we had enough of that last year and it was a bit weird. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to get notifications straight to your eyeballs, hit the follow button over on Twitch as well, notification thing over there. Even now I don't know what it is, I click it all the time, I don't know what it is, it's a notification button. You will get us live over there as well, doing the exact same thing. We really need to do something different on Twitch for that platform specifically. Regardless of what you do though, thank you for listening to my rambling, thank you for watching, I am done, bye bye.